forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.
What kind of foundation is your life built on? Is it a firm foundation? Is there a foundation at all? What frameworks are you using to build a healthy foundation for every area of your life? Whether that's your faith, your marriage, your family, your business. That's exactly why the Mindset Mastery podcast exists. But we can't build mindset mastery if we're not willing to, in the process, be building on a firm foundation. Hey, welcome to the Mindset Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Coach Sam Velasquez, and I'm thrilled you're here today because I'm going to be breaking down the framework for faith, the foundational framework that we need in our everyday life. And I did it in a simple acronym for you to be able to be practical in its application and something you can utilize in your everyday life. Because I believe faith isn't just a word. It is a way of living. And I want to make sure that I'm not just a person of faith. I want to not only make sure I am someone who has a faith. I don't want to just be a Christian who's a faith believer, right? We can say all these things. I want to be someone who actually takes action, who's living it out, who's practicing the foundational aspects of faith. And that can be tough for some of us because faith at the root level from a biblical standpoint is simply faith is the evidence of things hoped for but not yet seen. It means that we don't always see it, but we still take action and move in the direction in which we believe we're to go. However, without a firm foundation, we can get led down so many paths we're not meant to go down. We can get involved, we can get unaligned, we can simply be less intentional, lose trust, and ultimately lose hope. And that's exactly what I don't want for me, my family, my marriage, any of you as listeners. And I'm put together the simple acronym for faith, simply called focus, align or alignment, intention, trust, and hope. Listen, these foundational frameworks are pivotal for building mindset mastery. And the first one is this, I'm just going to jump right in, is focus. We need to center our thoughts on what truly matters. It is easy to be unfocused. It is easy to be distracted. There are so many things in our current world and society that are vying for our attention. And so wherever we are focused is where we're likely to begin to start to put our faith and trust in. And so focus is pivotal. Here's what the word tells us in Hebrews 12:2. It reminds us that we are to run with perseverance a race that's marked out just for us, right? Each person's race is unique to them. And in the process, it says we're to fix our eyes on Jesus. We're to fix our eyes on the pioneer, it says, the perfecter of our faith, which means my faith is the evidence of things I'm hoping for, but I can't yet see him. So in the process, I'm to focus on who God is. I'm to focus on how he has already pioneered the way, right? A pioneer goes ahead of us and he perfects our faith. It means he's the one who helps me actually operate in the faith that he's given me. Because it says, I am the person, you are the person. We're the people who because of us, he endured the cross, right? He died on the cross for our sin, our shame. And because of that, he now is seated at the right hand of the Father. That is a kind of a longer way of breaking down Hebrews 12:2, but it's critical because it's the foundation of my focus. It's the foundation of hopefully your focus. So the focus is, for me, putting my eyes on Jesus. If my foundation is going to be firm, it has to be focused on God. It has to be focused on who Jesus is, was, and still is to this day. And at the end of the day, whether we realize it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, our focus and attention are always on something or someone. And the question is, who or what is your attention on? And who or what our attention is on will often determine the foundation of our faith. And so the first thing we need to make sure we do when it comes to our faith and having a firm foundation is know where we put our focus and attention. For me, that's Jesus, plain and simple. The second thing is our alignment. And you're going to see why this is so important and how this will incorporate right into the focus. Because alignment is it ensures that our actions reflect our values and our divine purpose. And I don't want to just be aligned in any old thing. I want to be aligned in what it is God has for me here on this earth. Don't you? Don't you want to be aligned with the actual core values and beliefs that you stand for? And in the divine purpose and the very thing God put you here on this earth to do? Here's what it says in Proverbs 3:5-6. A very well-known passage and reference for many people. But it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he makes straight your path, right? He's the one who goes before us, right? Remember the pioneer? He's the one who takes and leads us along the way. I'm putting myself in alignment with him, right? Because my focus is on him. Therefore, now I'm aligned with him. Therefore, everything I do, I'm going to acknowledge him in the process so I can stay aligned, right? In a world that is moving 1,000,000 miles per hour, it is so easy to get out of alignment. You know, so many things, like I said earlier, maybe are vying or competing and contending for our trust and our loyalty. It's easy to see, you know, now how focus has so much to do with our alignment, because where our focus and attention is likely going to pull us. And if it's not what God aligned for us, it's going to align us with something other than our divine purpose. Okay. Knowing where to put our trust will often determine our alignment. This is why I trust God and align with the biblical principles and truth for living life, my personal life. In everything I do, I want my faith to be rooted in him. I want my marriage to be rooted in him. I want my family life to be rooted in him. My business, every facet of my life. So first is focus. Second is alignment. Third, intention, right? We have to be intentional. We have to act deliberately in every step of our journey. Ephesians 5:15-17 says, be careful then how you live, not as unwise people, but as those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord wants. Man, this is so powerful, right? I want to be intentional in all of my actions. And so when I want to act with an intention to be wise. I want to act with an intention to make the most of every opportunity. I want to act with an intention to not be foolish, but to actually act with intention to do what God wants me to do, because it warns us that the days are evil. Listen, you may not even be a person of faith per se. You may not even be someone who believes in the Christian values that I hold. You may not even have ever read the Bible. But I don't think there's a single person in America anyways, on the face of this planet per se, that doesn't see the level of evil that we have going on in and around us on a regular basis. But the truth is we shouldn't be alarmed, because a side note, all things were made by God. So good and evil exists because of him. It is part of a spiritual unseen world, different podcast. But be intentional, act deliberately in every step of your journey, right? Intention is when the mind, with great earnestness and of choice, fixes its view on an idea, considers it on every side, and will not be called off by the ordinary solicitation of other ideas. Simply put, have an aim and plan and be precise and intentional and get aligned with what it is God has for you and focus on God so you can be intentional and not easily pulled off track. Because I love what it says. It says that it fixes its view on any idea, considers it on every side. Here's where wisdom comes in. I don't just want to align with something and only see it from one angle and then run headlong at it, right? It says, consider it on every side. It's to be wise, discernful, and considerate of all the possibilities, which includes, is my focus on God? And this being intentional, is my heart aligned with where God has and wants me to be? And am I acting deliberately with intention according to what God wants? Okay. Fourth, the T in faith, trust. Okay. Trust is this idea that I'm not going to lean on my faith only, right? Back up. I'm saying that backwards. I am going to lean on my faith to guide me through challenges, right? And remember, faith is the evidence of things hoped for, but not yet seen, meaning I'm going to trust God, even though I can't see it, even though I can't touch it, even though it feels distant or hard or difficult, and it's not producing everything that I'm hoping for in the moment. I'm going to trust God, right? Trust can be so difficult sometimes. Often our trust is something that we've broken, or someone else has broken trust with us, and it can be painful and hurtful at times. However, God never breaks his trust. He is steadfast in every way. At the end of the day, we can always put our faith and trust in God. But here's the caveat to that. Just because I trust God and my faith is fully rooted in him, doesn't mean that he's going to deliver in my timeline. It doesn't mean he's going to bring everything that I want or that I'm hoping for on my schedule. It's going to be on his schedule. And so even though it's hard to endure, I'm going to do it and I'm going to trust him in the process. So trust God. And lastly is hope. We have to embrace the belief that a brighter future awaits. We have to embrace the idea that hope is not just some far off, unattainable thing, but it's real. God is the hope of glory. And I put my hope in him, but that's exactly what faith is, right? I said it earlier, and I'll finish up with it, is that faith is the evidence of things hoped for. So what is our hope in? What is our hope for? Right? Romans 8:24-25 tells us, for in this hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? Right? Who hopes for what he can see? I don't have to hope for something that I can see if I can see it. But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. I love it, man. Hope that is seen is not hope, right? My kids get in the car and we're going somewhere, a destination, and when they can't see it, they're patiently or impatiently sometimes waiting, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, when are we going to get there? How far is it? How many more hours? And they're asking questions. They're curious, and their hope is building. Even though they can't see it, they trust we're going to get there. But if I say, hey, we're going to X, and they can see it, they're like, oh, okay, well, I can see it, so there's not much to ask questions about or be excited about, or nothing to be patient for, right? And more realistically, it's like me telling them we're going somewhere and they have no idea where. So I'm putting something out there and they can't see it, but they hope it's going to be sweet. They hope it's going to be fun. They hope it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a bright moment in their life and or future, right? The other truth of this is faith is defined as the substance of things hoped for, like I said. But if we don't have hope, what else is there? Right? If there's no hope, what else is there? We all have things we're hoping for, I'd imagine, but ultimately, like my trust, my hope is in God. This is not to say that we cannot hope for another thing, right? I'm hoping to have a good week. I'm hoping to get a pay raise. I'm hoping to be able to go on that vacation soon. I'm hoping to spend time with my spouse on a date. Whatever it may be, those are great and not wrong. But ultimately, my hope is in God. And so in hoping what we cannot see, God is the ultimate comfort and encouragement to keep me going. It's a reminder to focus and align my intention with trust and hope in him. And ultimately, I hope this is an encouragement to you. And I'm going to end with this is that we need to become rooted in a foundational framework, right? Spiritual faith, it may be something different for you. For me, and my encouragement is that it is in a spiritual foundational framework, such as faith, and particularly in God. I believe there's only one God, one true God. And I will rest everything on my laurels and put all of my faith and hope in him, because he never fails me. You know, if you don't believe in something, the probability that you or I would fall for anything is very likely. And when we fall for anything, we're more likely to lose focus, become less aligned, without intention, lack trust, and have no hope for a future. So instead, build a foundational framework of faith. You guys, I hope this helps. Again, just to kind of recap, we're talking about foundational frameworks, building on the idea of faith, which is to focus on God, be aligned with God's plans and purposes with your life, be intentional to act deliberately on those plans and purposes for your life, and to trust him in the process, and to hope and put all of your hope in him for the outcome that you so choose and you desire and long for. And in his timing, I believe those things will come to pass. You guys, thank you for tuning in today. Hey, as always, sign up for the free email that I put out every week to just encourage you along the way, as well as if you're wanting to connect as a Christian business coach, I help entrepreneurs get past some of the most common roadblocks in their business. If that's you or somebody you know, hey, sign up for a free coaching call. I'd love to, for free, give you a consult and help you come up with a plan and strategy to overcome some of the most common hurdles that we have as entrepreneurs. And lastly, if you want a free ebook, I got one here in the link. Sign up for that. It's all yours. It's just to help you begin to build some of the most common habits that successful entrepreneurs build and use every single day. Coach Sam Velasquez here with the Mindset Mastery Podcast. We'll see you on the other side. Peace.
God forbid you are sitting in this place saying, I don't care about legacy. You need to care about it, because somebody's got to live in the life you have. You are passing something down whether you want to or not.